Do you dream of oak-lined streets where Spanish moss filters morning light, where walking to coffee is part of your daily rhythm, where the park itself becomes your front yard? Most people see Audubon Park as one beautiful green space. But after living in all 4 residential quadrants surrounding it over the past 10 years, I know each side creates a completely different lifestyle. I'm Margaret, born and raised right here in New Orleans. My husband Bernard and I spent our early years renting in Upper Hurstville, bought our first home on Audubon Street in Audubon Park, Riverside, experienced the community energy of West Riverside, and came to understand the architectural prestige in Audubon along the St. Charles edge. By the end of this video, you'll know which rhythm fits your life: the vibe, the real estate, math, and the hidden trade-offs that only a decade of living here reveals. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let me start with where we started as renters, looking for our entry point into this part of Uptown. Quadrant 1, Upper Hurstville, the walkable entry point. Upper Hurstville became our landing spot when we first moved to this area. We were renters then, trying to figure out where we belonged in Uptown New Orleans. What drew us here was Magazine Street. When you live on this side of the park, Magazine becomes your front porch. Walking to coffee shops isn't a weekend treat. It's Tuesday morning. It's every morning if you want it to be. You'll step out your door and within 2 blocks, you're choosing between boutiques, restaurants, art galleries, and that corner bakery that knows your order. This isn't just convenience. It's a lifestyle built around walkability and spontaneity. The housing stock here tells its own story. You'll find raised cottages on smaller lots, the kind of homes that mix longtime owners with young professionals just starting out. Some are still rental properties. Others have been lovingly restored by families putting down roots. The lots are tighter than what you'd find deeper into the residential areas. The energy is more urban. You hear your neighbors, you see people walking past your front porch. For some buyers, that's exactly what they want, that sense of being plugged into the neighborhood's pulse. Magazine Street functions as the gathering space here. It's where you run into people. It's where the community feels most alive if you value that kind of daily interaction. If you want your errands to feel less like chores and more like neighborhood walks, this quadrant delivers. Now the trade-off. You're not getting the seclusion you'll find on the other side of the park. Your yard will be smaller. Street parking can be tight. The sounds of the city are closer here. But here's what matters for buyers looking at this area. The real estate math works. Prices in Upper Hurstville sit in the same range as West Riverside and the Audubon neighborhood along St. Charles. You're not paying a premium for being near Magazine Street. You're getting walkability at a comparable price point to the other quadrants. That creates strong rental demand. Tulane and Loyola are right here. Young professionals want to be here. Families appreciate the convenience. If you're thinking about investment potential, this area moves. Properties don't sit on the market long. The smaller yards mean less maintenance. The proximity to everything means less time in your car. For a lot of buyers, especially those coming from cities where walkability is prized, this feels like the best of both worlds. You're in a historic New Orleans neighborhood, but you're also a few blocks from your favorite cafe. We loved our time renting here. It taught us the neighborhood, it showed us what mattered to us in the home, and when we were ready to buy, we knew exactly what we were looking for. We wanted the opposite experience. We wanted the park itself to be our front yard. When we bought our first home on Audubon Street, we made a deliberate choice. We traded proximity to Magazine Street for proximity to the park itself. This side of Audubon Park creates an entirely different daily experience. The park becomes your front yard, not metaphorically, literally. You wake up to filtered light coming through oak branches. You hear birds instead of traffic. Your morning walk isn't to a coffee shop, it's to the park, along the lagoon, under that canopy of Spanish moss that makes you feel like you're already on vacation. The vibe here is seclusion. It's quiet, it's green, the streets feel like they're tucked away from the rest of the city, even though you're only minutes from everything. The housing stock reflects that priority. Lots are larger here. Landscaping is more established. Homes are designed with outdoor living spaces that take advantage of park views. Screened porches, private courtyards, gardens that blend into the surrounding oak trees. This is where buyers come when they want nature to be part of the centerpiece of their daily life. Not just access to nature, immersion in it. Now let's talk about the price reality. Audubon Park Riverside sits on its own category. This is the premium quadrant. You will pay more to live here than you will in Upper Hurstville or West Riverside. That premium reflects the lot sizes, the park, frontage, and the sense of retreat this side offers. For buyers who prioritize that morning reset, who want to step outside and feel like they've left the city behind, the price makes sense. Here's what matters about flood zones. All 4 quadrants around Audubon Park sit in safe flood zones. Elevation protects these neighborhoods. Whether you're on Magazine side or Riverside, you're not dealing with the flood risk some buyers assume comes with proximity to the Mississippi. That's an important clarification because the name Riverside makes people nervous. They hear river and they think flooding. The data doesn't support that concern here. These homes were built on higher ground. The insurance rates reflect that reality. But here's the trade-off you need to understand. You will be in your car more often. There's no Magazine Street 2 blocks away. The nearest grocery store requires a drive. Coffee shops, restaurants, errands, all of that pulls you away from the park and into your vehicle. For some buyers, that's a deal breaker. They want walkability. They want to run out for milk without starting the car. For others, it's not even a consideration. They choose this side because they wanted the park to be the thing they walk to. Everything else can wait. We fell into that second category. Our daily rhythm became park-focused. Morning walks with the dog, evening runs along the lagoon, weekend picnics under the oaks. The trade of driving to the grocery store felt minor compared to what we gained. This quadrant also attracts families who want space. Larger lots mean room for kids to play. The park offers endless outdoor activity. Schools are within the neighborhood, which matters when you're raising kids and want to minimize commute times. The sense of permanence here is strong. People buy on this side and stay. The turnover is slower than Upper Hurstville. The investment feels long-term. You're not just buying a house, you're buying into a lifestyle that centers around green space and quiet mornings. If your priority is a daily reset, if you want to look out your window and see oak trees instead of storefronts, if you're willing to drive for convenience in exchange for living inside a postcard, this is your quadrant. But if you need both the park and the walkable retail energy, you're going to want to look at the next side we lived on, the one that figured out how to deliver both. Now, if you want both the park and a strong sense of community, the next quadrant delivers that in a way the others don't. West Riverside is the most social side of Audubon Park. This is where you see strollers on every block, kids on bikes, neighbors gathering at a playground edge of the park. The energy here is different. It's not the urban puzzle. It's not the urban buzz of Magazine Street. It's not the quiet seclusion of Riverside. It's community. It's families who know each other. It's front porches that actually get used. One of the most distinctive features of this neighborhood is something we call the business of culture. On any given weekend, you might find neighbors hosting live music on their front porches. Not big productions, just someone with a guitar, a few chairs set up on the lawn, and the whole block stopping by to listen. These porch concerts aren't advertised. They're organic. Someone decides to play, word spreads, and suddenly you've got 20 people sitting on the curb with a beer, listening to jazz or folk or whatever's happening that afternoon. That's the spirit of West Riverside. Culture isn't something you drive to. It's something your neighbors create right here in the neighborhood. The family appeal here is undeniable. This is the only quadrant with real playground access to Audubon Park. That matters when you've got young kids. The playground becomes your daily destination. Your children make friends with other kids from the neighborhood. You make friends with their parents. Schools are within the neighborhood here. That's a huge factor for families trying to minimize commute times and keep their children connected where they live. You're not driving across town for a drop-off, you're walking or biking to school with other families from your street. There's also a free public pool right next to the zoo. A lot of people don't know about this. It's not heavily advertised, but for locals, especially families with kids, it's a summer lifesaver. You're not paying for pool membership or driving to the lakefront. You've got a neighborhood pool that's walkable from most homes in West Riverside. Another hidden gem here is the levee access. You could walk from the oak canopy of the park to the open sky and Mississippi River views in about 5 minutes. That transition from shaded park to expansive river vista is something visitors never see, but locals use constantly. The levee becomes another gathering space. People run there. They bring dogs, they sit and watch the ships go by. It's a completely different kind of outdoor experience than what the park itself offers. Having both within a 5-minute walk adds layers to this neighborhood that aren't immediately obvious. The housing stock here reflects the family focus. You'll find homes designed for living, not just for show, backyards big enough for swing sets, front porches deep enough for furniture, driveways that actually fit cars. The lots aren't as large as Audubon Park Riverside, but they're functional. The homes aren't as grand as St. Charles mansions, but they're built for daily life with children, pets, and the kind of wear that comes with an active household. Prices in West Riverside sit on that same range as Upper Hurstville and the Audubon neighborhood along St. Charles. You're not paying a premium for the family-friendly features. You're getting them as part of the package. The trade-off here is density. This is the most populated of the 4 quadrants. More families means more activity, more noise, more cars parked on the street. If you want quiet seclusion, this isn't your side of the park. But if you want your kids to grow up with other kids on the block, if you want neighbors who organize crawfish boils and porch concerts, if you value that built-in social structure that makes a neighborhood feel like a village, West Riverside delivers that better than any other quadrant. We loved our time here. The sense of belonging was immediate. You didn't have to work to meet people. They were already on your street, walking to the same playground, dealing with the same school carpool logistics. For young families, this is often the top choice. The park, the schools, the community, and the culture all align in one walkable neighborhood. But if your priority is architectural prestige and historic significance, the 4th quadrant operates on a different scale entirely. The 4th quadrant operates on an entirely different scale. This is where Uptown's architectural prestige lives. When people picture New Orleans, they're often picturing this side of Audubon Park. Greek Revival mansions, ornate ironwork, the historic streetcar line running right along St. Charles Avenue. This is postcard New Orleans. The kind of homes that get featured in architecture magazines. The kind of street that tourists ride the streetcar specifically to see. The geography here matters. You're bordered by St. Charles Avenue on one side, which means you're steps from Tulane and Loyola universities. That proximity creates a unique dynamic. You've got the grandeur of historic estates mixed with the energy of college campuses right across the street. The housing stock here reflects generations of wealth and preservation. These aren't just large homes, they're architectural statements. You'll find homes with historical plaques, estates that have been in the same family for decades, properties where the ironwork alone is worth studying. The lots are substantial, the landscaping is established, the interiors often feature original details that haven't been touched since the home was built. Crown molding, medallions, pocket doors, mantels carved from marble imported over a century ago. Living here comes with a sense of stewardship. You're not just buying a house, you're becoming a caretaker of a piece of New Orleans history. That responsibility appeals to certain buyers. It overwhelms others. The family considerations here are strong. Schools are within the neighborhood, which matters for families trying to keep everything walkable. You're also steps from university resources. Libraries, museums, lectures, events, all of that become accessible when you live this close to Tulane and Loyola. The price reality here sits in that same range as Upper Hurstville and West Riverside. You're paying the premium you see in Audubon Park Riverside, but you're often getting more square footage, larger homes, more rooms, more history. That creates an interesting investment angle. The universities provide a valuation floor. As long as Tulane and Loyola remain strong institutions, this neighborhood maintains its appeal. Faculty want to live here, visiting professors rent here, alumni return here. That consistent demand creates stability in the real estate market. Properties here don't crash. They don't spike wildly. They hold value because the institutional presence next door isn't going anywhere. The trade-off is maintenance. Historic homes require constant attention. You're dealing with plaster walls, old plumbing, electrical systems that need updating, windows that need restoration, roofs that need specialists and understand historical materials. The stewardship responsibility extends beyond your property line. This is a landmark neighborhood. There are expectations about how you maintain your home, how you landscape your yard, what colors you paint your shutters. For some buyers, they want to be part of preserving New Orleans' architectural heritage. They take pride in maintaining these estates for the next generation. For others, it's a burden. They want a home they can renovate without consulting preservation communities. They want modern systems without worrying about historical accuracy. The St. Charles Avenue location also means noise. The streetcar runs constantly. Tourists walk these streets taking photos. Mardi Gras parades roll right past your front door. If you value privacy and quiet, this might not be your quadrant. But if you want to live inside the New Orleans that exists in everyone's imagination, if architectural significance matters to you, if you want your home to tell a story that predates you and will continue after you, this is where that happens. This is the quadrant where prestige and history intersect, where your address carries weight, where your home isn't just shelter, it's a landmark. Now let's talk numbers. I pulled several active listings from the MLS around Audubon Park so we can understand what the market is actually doing, not just what it feels like. First thing, it's extremely difficult to find anything below $500,000 in this pocket. At that price point, you're generally looking at a condo. For example, there's a 3-bedroom condo on Henry Clay listed just above $500,000, about 1,500 square feet with a monthly condo fee and street parking only. So that's your entry point. Now, if you want a single family home, even something modest, pricing typically starts in the mid to high 600 range. There's a 1914 cottage on Annunciation Street listed at $675, around 1,860 square feet. That's considered entry level for a detached home this close to the park. Moving up from there, you're quickly in the $750,000 to $800,000 range. A property on Webster is listed at $795, nearly 2,400 square feet, garage included. And that's still not luxury. That's just solid uptown real estate. When we step into Upper Audubon, closer to the park with larger lots, pricing changes dramatically. A fully renovated historic home on Audubon Street is currently listed at $1.76 million, about $628 per square foot. That reflects premium finishes and premium location. And at the top of the market, estate-style properties like a restored villa on Lower Line are approaching $2.8 million. So what do we learn from this? Number 1, proximity to Audubon Park carries a significant price premium. Number 2, the difference between the 4 surrounding neighborhoods often comes down to lot size, architectural quality, and exact distance to the park. And number 3, this area consistently ranks among the highest priced residential pockets in New Orleans. You're not just buying square footage. You're buying walkability to the park, the universities, Magazine Street, the parade routes, and long-term stability. The decision matrix. Which rhythm fits your life? So after living in all 4 quadrants, here's how I'd break down the decision. Think of it as a front yard versus backyard theory. On the riverside, the park becomes your front yard. You wake up to it, you walk into it, your daily rhythm centers around green space and quiet mornings. On the Magazine side, the park becomes your shared backyard. It's there when you want it, but Magazine Street becomes your front porch. That's where your daily energy goes. Coffee shops, restaurants, the rhythm of walkable retail. If nature comes first, if your priority is that daily reset in green space, Audubon Park Riverside is your quadrant. You'll pay more for it, you'll drive more for errands, but you'll live inside the postcard. If walkability and practicality matter most, if you want coffee and groceries within 2 blocks, Upper Hurstville delivers that without compromise. You're still steps from the park, but you're also steps from everything else. If family and community drive your decision, if you want your kids growing up with other kids on the block, if you value that built-in social structure, West Riverside is where that happens naturally. The playground access, the schools, the porch concerts, it all creates a village feel that other quadrants don't replicate. If prestige and architecture matter, if you want to live in a landmark neighborhood where your home tells a story, the Audubon Edge along St. Charles delivers that historical significance. You'll carry the responsibility of stewardship, but you'll also carry an address that means something. All 4 quadrants share the same advantages: safe flood zones, established infrastructure, permanent green space protecting property values, the streetcar connecting you to the rest of the city. The real question isn't which quadrant is better, it's which daily rhythm matches how you actually want to live. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90, Bernard and I would love to help you find your rhythm around Audubon Park. All our contact info is in the description below. Be sure to check out our map tour video next, where we walk you through these exact boundaries and show you how they connect to the rest of Uptown. Hit subscribe so you never miss an update, and we'll see you in the next one.